Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. And the topic today is the Sefirah to Omer, counting the Omer. What is the most precious gift that God gives us?
Time.
Yeah. Life, right? And time, meaning the amount of life that is given to us. You know, it's very sad. You had mentioned this trend that when there was all of this talk about here in California about rulings about the right to live, the right to die, right? Then once that was accepted, it almost turned into the obligation to die. And very often in hospitals today, you have to fight for the right to live. Once they, from their medical, secular viewpoint, don't see much chance of long-time survival, quality of life, so then you have to fight for the right to live. And of course, we view that every moment that God gives us, no matter what state we are in, is a gift of time. And that is the most precious gift that we have. Of course, the value of that commodity depends on how we decide to use it. A slave's time is not his own. When we were avadim, b'Mitzrayim, we were enslaved in Egypt, we had no control over how we used our time. The time was not our own, it was owned by the Egyptians. So we had no choice in how to use the minutes and hours that make up our lives. Yetziat Mitzrayim came about, and now we were on our own. And we had a new commandment now to count the days, starting the day immediately after Pesach, the second day of Pesach, in other words, immediately after Yetziat Mitzrayim, the Exodus, we are commanded then to count the days until Shavuot, until when we will receive the Torah. By counting each day, that impresses upon a person how meaningful, how impactful, and how fleeting this gift is. A day that is squandered will never come back. Each day has all of its potential.
And also, the Yetziat Mitzrayim, the purpose of it was each day to take us closer to the giving of the Torah.
Right.
So
right.
the counting says we're getting closer, and this is
Yes.
why we were free.
Yes. Now, as the tally goes up, today is the 26th day of the Omer, then we have this realization, time is passing. Hours, days, years are going by, and a person must take stock of where they are at and to make sure that they are utilizing this gift to the fullest. So the mitzvah of counting the Omer reminds us that time waits for no one. I think that was a Rolling Stones song. Time waits for no one. Right? And therefore we have to take hold of each day and fill it with meaning, because they're not waiting for us. It's not waiting for us. So what is this Omer? Right? So I understand counting. I understand the idea of counting. Right? But what is this Omer? Right? And what is its significance? So there was a special sacrifice that was brought in the Beit HaMikdash before any of the newly grown grains, right? We have 5 grains. We have 5 grains, wheat, barley, oats, rye, and spelt, before any of the newly grown grains can be eaten, then the equivalent of 1 day's worth of barley flour for one person must be brought to the Beit HaMikdash on the second day of Pesach. This is known as the Omer. Nowadays, where we don't have the Beit HaMikdash, so we can't bring the Omer offering, the new grains are permitted after the close of that second day, when it would have been brought.
Where would you bring the grain? Where do you bring the grain?
Now we don't. Now for us, right? It's no longer chadash. It's no longer new.
Yeah.
Right? It becomes yashan as of the second day, the conclusion of the second day and the start of the third day. So the pasuk tells us in Vayikra Chaf Gimel. Vaydaber Hashem Moshe Lemor. Hashem said to Moshe, saying, "Daber b'nei Yisroel, speak the children of Israel, v'amatim, and say to them, Ki tavo el haaretz, when you will come to the land, Asher ani notein lechem, that I'm giving to you, ukitzartem et kitzira, and you will reap the harvest. V'aveitim et Omer, reishet kitzirchem el hakohen. You shall bring the Omer, the start of your harvest, you should bring that to the Kohen. Vehinif et haomer lefnei Hashem, and he will wave that offering before Hashem. Lirtzonchem mimacharat Shabbat, the day following Shabbat, and that actually refers to the first day of Pesach. The Tzedukim understood that literally, as they were wont to do. And they said, it's got to be on a Sunday. So therefore they would always try to manipulate the calendar by sending false witnesses about the new moon to try to get it that Shavuot, that Shavuot would be Mimacharat HaShabbat, right? That they would arrange it like that. Yenifenu HaKohen, the Kohen shall wave it. Now, what do we learn? What is the meaning? Right? We have a lot to unpack over here. There is this Omer amount. It's the first offering. It is waved. It's given to the Kohen. So when they wave it, how would they wave it? We do a similar waving. Good. The way that we wave our lulav and etrog, right, which is to the 4 directions, up and down, right? That is basically the physical world, the 4 directions and up and down. So, the Chizkuni, source number 2, explains, Ein derech eretz shetochlu min hachadash. It would not be respectful, proper, to eat from the new, ad shetaviu mimenu doron laHashem, laKadosh Baruch Hu, until you would first bring a gift to Hashem. Meaning, a person is supposed to have the understanding that everything that I have is a gift from God. Even my abilities, my talents are a gift from God. And certainly anything material that I have is a gift from God, because we can each look around and see people who are more talented, better educated, better equipped, and don't necessarily have the gifts that we have, the material gifts that we have. And we recognize that it's not kochi va'otzem yadi, it's not me and my strength, but rather it is a gift from God. Now, these people have worked hard, right? And they've planted and they've done all that needs to be done. Ultimately, whatever they have at the end, whatever grows, is a gift from God. I love this story. Obviously not a true story, but the story of the person who challenged God to a duel and said, God, you're a creator. Whatever you can do, I can do. So God says, yeah, okay. So he gathers together some earth and turns it into a person. The guy says, big deal. When he starts to gather some earth, the God says, wait. Get your own earth. right? So we plant the seeds. Good. Okay, make your own seed. Right? Try that. Good luck to you. Pack all of the genetic information that will be needed for this fully functioning, towering redwood tree. Pack all of that into a seed. Right? Good luck to you. So the Chizkuni is saying, at the most basic level, this is showing our appreciation to Hashem, recognizing that everything that we have comes from Him. The Siftei Chaim takes it a step further, and he says, "Kidei she'adam chas v'shalom lo yargish kochi va'otzem yadi." The term I used before. A person should not feel, "Oh, it's me, my strength, va'otzem yadi, and the strength of my hands." Shlo yechshov charashti zarati. Right? I plowed, I planted, and now I'm harvesting. So I'm the one who grew this. I'm the farmer. I'm the creator. It's not you. God gives us all of our sustenance. And from Him is where everything comes. How would we learn that? We give the very beginning of it, the start, the most precious portion. Hachaviv biyoter bikurei atzvua b'kach modem she'akol hu me'et Hashem. By that we show our recognition that it's all coming from God. Kashem bekashrim et hareshit ba haprat rishon mechiach halakol. When we connect the first part to Hashem, then it's clear that then everything else that follows, v'hakol mitkadesh, and everything else also becomes sanctified. And this we have many firsts. What other firsts do we have? What did you say?
Orla.
Okay, Orla, the first 3 years of the tree, right? We don't partake of its fruits, and then the 4th year in Israel, right? It will be brought to Yerushalayim and eaten there. Good, Orla.
Pidyon haben.
Good, Pidyon haben. Redemption of the firstborn son. The Teruma is first taken, right? We first tithe all of the produce, right? And then, only then, does it become non-tevel, right? Only then does it become non-untithed, right? Properly tithed. Tevel means untithed, and at that point, right, one is allowed to partake of it, right? Rosh Hashanah. Right, that first day of the year, we sanctify that, and we have all the simanim that we do, all the different signs. We eat carrots, we eat beets, we eat leek, you name it. Of course, apple and honey. That's the old classic. That's the vintage, right? And all these things, right? It's all that we want to start with a certain way and then to follow. So if we're starting with recognition that this is a bracha from God, and we are sanctifying that thereby sanctifies all that which will follow afterwards. Rosh Chodesh, good.
We also have a first for a bar mitzvah boy putting on his talit.
Good, yes.
And first in marriage, when they first, when they have certain things are there first.
Correct, the Shana Rishonah, good, yes. So we recognize the importance of the firsts. Rav Hirsch, source number 4, writes, when you have attained not only freedom, but also national independence, which the possession of one's own land gives. So not just freedom, but here, right, not just Yetziat Mitzrayim, not just Exodus, but entering into the land, national independence, and you cut the produce of the land, bring that which the land has produced into your own personal possession. The land has produced this for you. Then bring the first Omer that you cut, meaning the amount that corresponds to 1 day's food. To who? To the Kohen. To your representative in God's sanctuary. This cutting corresponds to the real harvest of the land. So this cutting of the Omer corresponds to all that which will follow. The wheat, the barley, oats, rye, spelt. This Omer is brought from the barley. Why? That's the earliest grain to ripen. So we want to make sure we have the first of the first. To the Omer, the law of waving is added, consisting of horizontal movements in all four directions, followed by moving upwards and downwards, as we said, as we do with our lulav and etrog. By the procedure of waving one's... Now, the Omer is made up of the barley flour, oil, and also the incense. So there were these three parts to it. So by waving one's material nourishment, that's what flour represents. Flour represents our basic needs, right? On bread alone. One's well-being, represented by oil. One's mental satisfaction with life, right? That is the incense, which are all represented in the Omer. So by waving that, right, are stripped of every idea of selfishness, right? We recognize where it's coming from, and once we recognize where it's coming from, we understand A, how we must relate to it, and B, what we must then do with it, how we must utilize it. Represented by giving the Omer offering to the Kohen, who does the waving. Then this symbol of our earthly existence, flour, with all its prosperity, oil, joy of life, incense, is placed in the temple, is given to the Kohen, and of course it's brought to the temple to acknowledge that only through the Torah's ruling influence can we find our dedication to the community and to God. We must connect all of that to the Torah. And that is by bringing it into the Beit HaMikdash, into the temple, which of course, the centerpiece of the temple was the Aron, the Ark. That was the only item that was in the Holy of Holies. And of course, in the Ark was the Luchot, the second Luchot, and the first broken Luchot were also in there. Yes, Janet?
So, I was always under the impression that you wanted it to be immediately from the earth, but here it said it's ground into barley flour. I thought
Correct.
you were bringing the stock of the first harvest barley.
Nope.
So, there's...
A korban mincha is ground up.
Pardon?
A korban mincha, the flour offerings, are ground up.
Okay.
I've heard that you bring it that's ground up in flour because that's what you would have used yourself, and so you're giving it what you would have had for yourself, rather than just taking it from the field, which is useless to the human.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Right. If this represents your sustenance, right, it is the flour, right? It is not the raw goods. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on now to the counting. Okay? So we've discussed the importance of time that counting forces us to focus on. We've discussed the Omer offering. But now let's see the link. Now, we know that we are in this special time, transitional time from Pesach to Shavuot. As we've said numerous times, Pesach is our physical exodus. Shavuot is our spiritual exodus. And the days in between, the same way that we have Sukkot followed by a one-day Shmini Atzeret, we also have 7 days of Sukkot, one day Shmini Atzeret. We also have 7 days of Pesach, followed by a one day of Shavuot. And these days of the Omer are often viewed as a Chol HaMoed of sorts, linking Pesach and Shavuot. Yes, Chai Rivka.
You just said it's the exodus from spiritual. Wouldn't it be the entrance? Because we're gaining the Torah.
Yes, what I'm saying is we had the physical leaving of Egypt
Yes.
behind, and there's the spiritual leaving of Egypt behind as we
Which leave
enter.
Egypt. Oh, I
behind.
didn't hear that word.
Yeah, I'm sorry. As we enter
Okay,
into
gotcha.
this whole new covenant, state, etc. Yeah, why?
We're going to say you can also say the physical redemption and then spiritual redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. If I use the term redemption as opposed to Exodus, then it's less ambiguous. Thank you.
Rabbi,
Yes, Dov.
so in this period, we're somehow connecting back to the original leaving Egypt to go to Har Sinai.
We're-
We're connecting that together.
We're bridging the gap. Yeah. So the Rambam, in his Guide for the Perplexed, Moreh Nevuchim, says Shavuot hu yom matan Torah. Shavuot is the day. I'm sorry, I skipped. I'm sorry. Let's go, I'm sorry. In Vayikra first, source number 5. I'm sorry, I skipped. Usfartan lachem. So we're commanded now, the mitzvah is to count the 49 days. Usfartan lachem, you shall count Machrat Shabbat, from the day after Pesach, Miyom V'yachem, from the day that you brought the Omer Tnufa, Sheva Shabbatot Timimot Tihiena. These 7 complete weeks. Ad Machrat Shabbat, until the day after the 7th week, Tisperu Chamishim Yom, right? That will be then the 50th day. Vikraftem mincha chadasha laHashem, and you shall bring a new flour offering to Hashem. And then in Devarim it says Shiva Shavuot Tispar Lecha, 7 weeks, right? So the first pasuk spoke about counting the days, Tisperu Chamishim Yom, and then Shiva Shavuot, 7 weeks you shall count. Me'achel Chermesh Bakama Tachel Ispor Sheva Shavuot. From the time the sickle, that you start with the chermesh, with the sickle, against the kama, against the standing grain, you should count the 7 weeks. And that's why, of course, today is the 26th day of the Omer, which is 3 weeks and 5 days of the Omer. So we count days and we count the weeks.
Rabbi,
Yes?
I find it, no word is superfluous, right? Every word is for a reason?
Absolutely.
Okay. In both cases, it could say you should count from the day of Shavuot. It said we should count from the time. It says for yourselves. In other words, that for your conscious awareness of the reason why.
Okay, good. I think,
Otherwise, that's a
Right.
superfluous phrase.
yeah, well, I think halachically we learn out from that phrase, there are certain things that it's not on the individual. There's no individual responsibility to do it. It's more of a communal responsibility, right? And this is letting us know, Sfartem lachem, right? Individually, but certainly also, as you're saying, it must be something that we internalize.
Well, it's the way a child can't wait each day till his birthday
Good. We're
party.
going to see that in a second.
The same anticipation.
Good. Yes, we're going to see those ideas soon. So the idea of the where I had jumped the gun before, the idea of the counting, number 7, which is the Rambam in the Moreh Nevuchim. Shavuot is the time of giving the Torah, Matan Torah. Ula hagdiel hayomahu, in order to grandize that day. Ninu hayomim and hayom hamoed harishon elav. We're counting the days from the previous festival, Pesach, elav, to it. Kamisha mamtin bo haneman, like the way a person is awaiting Sheba Ohavav, right? He's awaiting the time for his beloved to arrive, right? Counting the days, right? Until my wife will get back from Israel, right? That's how we work it, right? Shumona Hayom, he counts the days, V'gama Sha'ot, and also counts the hours. V'zoti Sibat Sefirah Omer, and that's the idea of the counting of the Omer, Miyom, Seitana, from when we left Egypt, Ad Yom Matan Torah, till the day of giving the Torah, Shuhu Haya Kavana V'hatachlit B'yitziatam. Coming to Mount Sinai, standing there on Mount Sinai, that was the Kavana, the intent, V'hatachlit, and the purpose, B'yitziatam, in our being taken out of Egypt, as it says, Vavi etchem elai. I will bring them to me. The Sefer HaChinuch takes this a step further. The Sefer HaChinuch, we know, goes through all of his tally of the 613 mitzvot and gives the parameters, the laws, gives the application to whom, where, when it applies, and gives also the ta'am, right, of the mitzvot, which, as opposed to saying the reason for the mitzvot, let's better say ta'am can mean reason. Ta'am could also mean mod ta'im, right? It can also mean a taste, right? Because our understanding is, our realization is that our understanding of the mitzvot is bound to be very limited of all that which it contains, but nevertheless we work well with motivation. So when we understand something, it's easier for us to do it. Of course, we do have those mitzvot known as the chukim, which are specifically given to us without the reason being shared. So Sefer Chinuch writes, "V'zeu she'anu monin la'omer." That we count the Omer, klomar, as to say, "Kach v'kach yamim avru min haminyan." Right. So far, 26 days have passed from the count. So one idea that we mentioned before is that is a somber reminder of times moving on, and therefore we need to make sure that we best utilize it. But he says as follows: we count how many days have passed. We don't count how many days there are until that time. We don't count, today's 26. We don't say 23 days left. Right? This shows us the tremendous desire that we have to get there. Therefore, we don't want to say the first day, 48 days to go. Right? Because that would be so overwhelmingly depressing. Right? We can't have everybody being depressed. Oh no, 48 more days. How can we wait that long? Then you might ask, if that's the case, then once we've hit the point of 25, right? So now it's already less than half to go. Why don't we then start to count down? See, he gives a reason, and we'll soon see another reason, but he gives a reason. We don't want to switch our form, our structure midstream. So once we started the way we did, because otherwise it would be too overwhelmingly depressing. There's so many days until Shavuot, right? Who can wait that long? The Im Tishal, and you might ask, why are we counting from the second day, the day after Pesach? Why don't we count from Pesach itself, the first day? HaTeshuvah, he explains, that first day is designated for mentioning the incredible miracle of Yitziat Mitzrayim, of the Exodus. Shu'ot umofet b'chidush ha'olam uv'hashkachat Hashem al b'nei ha'adam, which showed so clearly as a sign, as a wonder of God's creation, and even more importantly than that, God's involvement. Rav Moshe says Shabbos teaches us God's creation. The holidays teach us God's involvement in that which happens, that He cares and it matters. Uvashkachat Hashem, and God's providence. Al b'nei Adam. Ve'ein lanu la'arev b'simchato. There's a concept of ein ma'arvin simcha b'simcha. We don't want to mix too many simchas up together. And to mention along with that something else. Therefore, the calculation was established miyom sheni miyad. That we should start from the second day. Then Rav Pinchas adds a very, very beautiful idea. Yes, Dov?
So, is the mitzvah of Omer so powerful that it can push off Shabbat?
The Ketzira to Omer would push off Shabbat. Yes.
That's how powerful
Yes.
it is. A lot of people don't
Yes.
know it's powerful.
Yes. The cutting of the Omer would be done even on Shabbat. That is a Ketzira, a harvesting. Normally we're not allowed to pluck anything, harvest anything, cut it off from its life source, right? An apple off of a tree, anything like that, right? But the Omer can. That is correct, though.
Beautiful.
Okay. Rav Pinchas adds a very, very beautiful, beautiful idea. Kasher Adam Sefirah Hayamim Likrat Yom Mesuyam. Again, so we ask, why aren't we counting down?
Yes.
Right? And the Sefer Chinuch said, well, that'd be too depressing at the beginning, that there's so many days until, so that's why we don't count down. He offers a different explanation. When a person counts the days, counting down to the big day, there's no real importance, significance to the days that are passing by. Ludugma, for example, Adam she'omar mor lekabel matana gedola, bod 50 yom. A person is going to get a large gift in the end of 50 days. Person is looking forward to a big vacation in 50 days. Harehu mityaches lemeshach hatzipiyah lematana kechamishim yom shemafriyim li lekabel matana. Those 50 days are just a nuisance. They are an interfering. Right? They're in my way. Nothing could be better. When I was a kid in school, like counting how many more days to the school year. Right? And nothing would have been better than waking up one day and finding out, hey, guess what?
No school.
You slept for the past 2 weeks. It's over. Right? Right? The days are just a nuisance. They're just that which is interfering, getting in the way of me and my gift, of me and my vacation, me and my big trip. That's all it is. The kasher cholef yom nisharu rak arbim v'tesha yom achotzesim beino lematana. Right? So when a day passes from the 50 days, only 49 days that are in my way, that are this nuisance, that I have to wait for my gift. But limei Sefirah to Omer, to the days of the counting of the Omer, anu mityachasim ba'ofen acher. We have a very, very different approach, different view on those days. Yomim elu heim yamim shel biniyah ruchanit. These are days of spiritual building, of spiritual ascent. Kasher adam bona binyan, if I'm building a 10-story high building, Harei sofer kol koma, and he counts each level that gets built. Baniti kvar koma achat, koma shniya, I've built the first floor, I've built the second floor. He doesn't say, I've got 9 more to go, I've got 8 more to go. 9 more to go, 8 more to go is when the interim is unimportant and they're just in my way. But I count each of those floors because I understand I can't possibly get to my 10th floor without having the firm foundation of floors 1 through 9. Kach b'mei Sefirah to Omer, so too during the days of the Sefirah. Anu bonim, we are building. Umechinim, and preparing. Building and preparing what? Et atzmeinu, preparing ourselves. Lamatan Torah, for the receiving of the Torah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mitzido, God from His perspective, muchan latek lanu et Torah miyad. He's fine giving us the Torah immediately. Ach anachnu pashut lo muchanim adai. But we are not yet ready. V'lachein, therefore, anu sofrim et yemei hachana, we count these days of preparation. Umonim et hakomot haruchaniyot, and we count these spiritual levels, spiritual steps. hamachshirot otanu, which is what is enabling us, preparing us, likrat matan Torah, for this matan Torah. Yes, Chanevka.
If you count up or you count down, in a sense, it's still expansive because we're moving towards something. It's what we're moving towards. But on Hanukkah, they have this argument: do we do 8 to 1 or 1 to 8?
Mm-hmm.
So is it just a choice of doing it one way or another, or
So what he's explaining is, right? You know, it's by Hanukkah. Are we looking at how many days of miracles have we had, or how many? That's Beis Hillel. That's our building up.
Okay.
Or how many days of miracle are left? In other words, according to Beis Shammai, the oil on day one was so miraculous, it contained within it the power for 8 days. By this, so you start with 8 on day 1 of Hanukkah, according to Beis Shammai.
Right.
By day 2, that oil only contained within it the miraculous capacity of 7 days, etc., etc., etc. But the point that he's focusing on is a countdown is now I've got nothing and I blast off, right? In other words, the countdown, the 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 blast off, right? It's just the 10 seconds of just waiting until the time. And let's get rid of that.
It's more expansive when you do that.
Whereas here, it's,
Building.
yeah, it's building, right? Each day is adding that which is necessary, right? I think the example he gave is a beautiful example. I can't get, right? I don't just, let me just build the 10th floor, right? If I don't have floors 1 through 9,
Of course.
right? Yes, Dov.
What about a high-rise building with an elevator, and you get in, at the bottom floor, you're limited, you can't see nothing, you're all blocked. The higher you go, the more you see.
Okay, nice idea, Dov.
That is nice.
Now, this, of course, everything is going to relate. So how does this relate to the fact that we start off the Omer, the first day, we're starting off with the barley offering. So we explained that, well, that is the first of the 5 grains to be ready. Right? That's where we bring that. And then in the end, Shavua, we bring the Shtei Halechem, the 2 loaves of wheat bread. So there is an added layer of understanding over there that Rabbi Aryeh Carmel, in his book Master Plan, discusses. The Omer on Pesach was from the barley harvest. The offering on Shavuot was of wheat. Barley is mainly food for animals. Wheat is food for human beings. The Torah hints to us that physical independence by itself, Yetziat Mitzrayim, right, the exodus from Egypt, or the redemption, thank you, Warren, from Egypt, still leaves a man, from the Torah perspective, on an animal level. Right? You know the story of the 2 guys, they're getting older and older, and they make a pact that whoever leaves the world first will come to the other one in a dream and describe to him what it's like on the other side. Well, years go by, and one of them passes away, and true to his commitment, he comes back to his friend in a dream, and he says to him, so tell me about it. What's it like on the other side? And he says, it's incredible. I eat whenever I want to eat. I sleep whenever I want to sleep. And the guy says, that's the world to come? And he says, no, I came back as a cow in Idaho. Right? You know, in other words, freedom, right, might just be living on basically an animal level. Right? What does an animal do? Eats and reproduces. Right? That's right. It eats, sleeps, reproduces. Right? That's what a plant does. It doesn't sleep. Right? Right? But, so we can't just be a sophisticated, advanced animal. The counting of 49 days signifies a sevenfold refining process and marks our progress to full human status. With our acceptance of the Torah at Sinai 7 weeks after the Exodus. So I'm not saying that a person who's not Jewish, who doesn't have Torah, but what I'm saying is that there needs to be this spiritual component. There are 7 mitzvot b'nei Noach, 7 Noahide mitzvot, and there are the Torah, 613 mitzvot for the Jewish people. And so this is meant to bring us not just to a different level, but to a whole different dimension. All right? And we discussed, in which context did we just discuss this? Maybe it was Parshat Shmini? I forget. Right? But the idea of 8 as opposed to 7. Right? And 7 represents the natural, and 8 represents, 7 is the 7 days of the week. That's the holiness within the system. 8 is when we go beyond, as in Brit Milah, where we're reaching a whole different dimension. We're going beyond the constraints of the physical, and we're going into a whole different dimension. So we have over here is 7 sevens, right? The 7 weeks that we're counting, the 49, and then we hit this epitome of the 8th, of Shavuot, of this spiritual redemption, of this whole spiritual manifestation of God. And that is what enables us to go from the barley to the wheat, so to speak, to fully, right? Chaviv Adam, how great is mankind? In that we can do great medical discoveries, and we could create an iPhone, right? Chaviv Adam, that we are B'Tselem Elokim, that we are created in the image of God, right? And we have the potential to become godly. This week's parsha, Kadosh, or second of the double parsha, Kadoshim Tihiyu, right? That is what we are counting our way towards. That's what we are building ourselves up towards. And each day is meant to be, the count is the reminder to us that to fully utilize the greatest gift that God has given us, the gift of time. Okay, we'll call it over here, my friends.
I did a mitzvah in Israel, and I would like to talk to you about it.
Sure.
When you
Yeah.
have